Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the library on this Friday before Labor Day weekend, 2024. I'm so pleased to have you with me tonight. I have some interesting stuff to talk about, I believe. We're going to take you to South Carolina and see what kind of ghosts they have down there. And then we have a couple of paranormal videos I'd like to show you and get your opinion on. So stick around for that. Let's start with the intro. Here we go. All right. Let's get back on here. Let's see. How'd you like that? That was a new intro. Updated it a bit. Same music, but updated a bit with some new pictures and video clips. So I thought that was nice to have an updated intro as we progress. Thanks each and every one of you for joining. Just a quick note, in case you notice this, there will be ads in this video. So do me a favor and just click through them. I'm testing to see what it means for me in terms of ads in the course of the video. So just bear with me on this. Anyway, thank you so much for being here. Let me say hello to everyone. Hello, Adam. Hello, Gerard. Hello, Dave T. Hello, Patrick. Theme Dude, my brother, is here. Gerard is here. Delilah is here. Arlene is here. Tony the Night Owl is here. Noel is here. Solitaire is here. Oh, good to see you, Solitaire. Cranky is here. M-Pow in the house. Slimity is here, of course. He's always here. And just a reminder, Slim goes on after me, so please tune in to his. And Solitaire usually joins him, so tune in to Slim's channel next at 10 o'clock. Latin Butterfly is here. Good to see you. Who am I missing? Bella. Good to see you, Bella. I haven't seen you in a while. Nice to see you in the chat. Bill C is here. Who else? Ganico Plumbing. Good to see you, my friend. I know you were new last time. Glad to see you came back. Appreciate you being here. Adam. I said hello to Adam already. Okay. Stegs, of course, is here. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining. Gina here. Good to see you. All right. Excellent crowd this evening. 25 people in the chat. That is awesome. Thank you guys so much. So if you do me a favor and click a like button, that would be awesome. Thank you for that. So we're going to go to South Carolina today, and I have some interesting stuff for you to see. And after I tell my stories, stick around because we'll have some paranormal videos for you to look at and give me your opinion on. So I hope you stay for that. Let's light our candles. Can't have it without candles, as I always say. We need candles. What's going on with this one here? This one's struggling. There we go. Come on, you can do it. Let's do it. Come on. Maybe you can't do it. Let's try something different here. There we go. All right, nice. All right. As you can see, one of our stories tonight is about a witch, a ghost of a witch. So Lenny's got his witch hat on, right, Lenny? He tries to play the part. He tries to dress for the event. You got to give him credit for that, right? Let's shut that light off. There we go. We are good to go. All right. So South Carolina, there you're talking about the South. That's when you really get into the South and all of the ghostly tales that are out there. A lot of witches and old world type of stuff happening there, which lends itself to a lot of ghostly stories. And we're going to talk about 3 of them tonight. Now, the first one is St. Philip's Graveyard in Charleston. Now, St. Philip's Graveyard, and of course I have pictures, so hold on a second. We'll get them going here in a second. St. Philip's Graveyard is adjacent to St. Philip's Episcopal Church. Now, this church is very old. It was built originally in 1680. Now, that's mega old, right? 1680. Let me see if I can do this here. And they have a graveyard next to them that is said to be haunted. And many people have said that they have seen or encountered things there. And as a result, the church has had to put up a sign to try to tell people that we're actually a functioning church. And this is not, a playtime to come around and see ghosts. So let's see here. Let me see if I can show you this real quick. Well, first of all, here's what the graveyard looks like. This is St. Philip's Graveyard. Kind of creepy looking, old looking. You kind of see those willow trees in the back there mixed in, which is the sign of the South and the hotter climates and such. So kind of a creepy area. And I'm going to show you the sign that the church put up here, which I thought was kind of funny. If I could get to it, what happened to it? Here it is. You can see this sign the church had to put up. The only ghosts at St. Philip, the only ghost at St. Philip's is the Holy Ghost. And they had to do this because there was so much ghostly activity being reported there that people were coming there for that very reason. So, hello, Nancy. Good to see you join us. All right. So there you go. That's what's going on there in St. Philip's. Now, what is the ghostly tale, or what is the ghostly tale around this particular area? Well, this is kind of interesting to me because this goes back to an individual by the name of Sue Howard. Now, Sue Howard was a young woman who was, at the age of 29 in 1888, was pregnant with her first child. And as you might know, during that time, that was late for having a child. People got married very early and they had children very early. So this was viewed as her last chance to have a child. Well, unfortunately, Sue Howard had a late-term stillbirth. It was almost like a miscarriage, a late-term stillbirth, which is a horrible, horrible encounter for anyone. So in 18, this on June 10th, 1888, her poor child was born deceased. And 6 days later, on the 16th, she died from internal hemorrhaging. So she passed away from the whole experience. So it was a very traumatic experience for anyone to go through, and especially this young woman who figured this was her last chance, and the depression of feeling this was her last chance to have a child, which she lost. They say contributed to her death, contributed to her early death. So, she dies and she's buried in that church, in that graveyard, 1888. Now, it's said that her spirit comes back. By the way, there was 35 people in the chat. That is awesome, guys. Thank you so much. Bobo, good to see you, Bobo. And her spirit is said to haunt this area, to haunt this at night, moaning and crying and looking for her child, lamenting her child, and lamenting what happened to her. And she's become such a vengeful spirit, actually, that is said that if a pregnant woman is in the cemetery, she will be physically attacked by the spirit of Sue Howard. Now, that's really scary, for anyone who is in that state, who might be pregnant. And women have reported that they were in that cemetery who were with child and have had their hair pulled or had scratches appear on their back out of nowhere. So pretty aggressive spirit out of jealousy for her loss and seeing others in her area who will be giving birth. So quite a kind of a malevolent spirit there, not the usual just good haunting guys, good hauntings. In fact, in 1988, someone took a picture of it, and what they say is actually the ghost of Sue Howard. Now, let me see if I can show you this. Here we go. All right, hold on 1 second, and you tell me what you think about this. It's coming up. It's coming up. It's coming up. Oh, I think it is. Where is it? Where is it? Where the heck is it? Here it is. Now, this is in the cemetery itself, in St. Philip's graveyard. And as you can see in the mid-screen here is the image, and it appears to be a woman, and it's pretty clear. It's a woman bent over, lamenting over on a grave. And this was taken in 1988. Now, this particular photograph was analyzed by experts to see if it was doctored at all. And it always came back that this was a legitimate picture, that it was not doctored. In 1988, it was not the age of digital, so it wasn't very easy to doctor photos without someone detecting it. And scientists looked at this, experts looked at this, and found that no, this is not a doctored photo. Now, to me, this is bone chilling, because you can see her hand over here, her arm going up, her head bent over, the long 1800s dress. It's pretty convincing, if you ask me. Yeah, exactly. Creepy. It looks like she's carrying something. I see. Yeah. Yeah, that's true, Bobo. The last week's did not. So this one at least came dressed. So yeah, this is the photo that was taken in the midst of St. Philip's graveyard on a chance by someone with a camera, a traditional film camera. And this is what came up with. So, hello, Shannon. Good to see you. Not a double exposure. No, that was one of the things they looked for, to see if it was a double exposure, and it was not. So it remains a bit of a mystery to this day. This photo remains a mystery. Either it's a ghost, or I don't know what it is. If it's not a ghost, what could it possibly be? Because it's not a double exposure. It's not a doctored film, not a doctored photo, anything like that. So who knows? It's certainly a creepy thing to see and imagine being there. And here, the interesting thing about this is that the person who took the photo did not see anything. He just was taking a photo of the cemetery in different spots, taking photos, I should say, of the cemetery while he was there, because it's a historical cemetery. It goes back, the church goes back to 1680, and and so people come there and just to photograph old tombstones. So he was just photographing, did not see the spirit, did not see this, but when he developed the film, he saw this. So quite an interesting little tidbit there around this. All right, so that is our Sue Howard, the ghost of Sue Howard, in St. Philip's Graveyard. So if you know anyone who is with child, tell them to stay away from this particular location. You don't want to chance it, And the interesting thing about that photo I just saw you, it was taken 99 years to the date. I'm sorry, yes, 99 years. It was that picture was taken in 1989, excuse me, June 10th, 1989. So that's 99 years to the day that Sue Howard's child was stillborn. So that's even creepier, if you ask me, that the anniversary of something like that a photo like that would have appeared. So that's St. Philip's Graveyard in Charleston, in South Carolina. All right. That's number one. Now, let's get on to what year was what, Bobo? The picture was 1989. The picture was taken. And the events around Sue Howard were 1888. I'm sorry. The photo was taken in 87. I'm sorry, not 89, 87, because it was 99 years. So the photo was taken June 10th, 1987. The events that occurred 100 years, 99 years ago was 1888. Gerard, I don't know. Hey, Carmela, good to see you. Gerard, I don't know about Mo Howard or Curly or Shep or any of them. All right, so let's go on to the next. Our next story takes place in Winnsboro Courthouse, South Carolina. Actually, the town of Winnsboro. And the ghost in question is the spirit of the witch of Winnsboro Courthouse. Now, let me show you what the courthouse looks like before we get into the actual story. All righty. Here we go. Here's what the courthouse looks like. Let me see something here. Why is this? Here we go. We got to show you because this is important. The steps in front of the courthouse are important for the story. So this is the courthouse. You can see it's very old. It was built originally. The original structure was built in the 1780s, and it still stands today. It's been kept up and refurbished, et cetera, et cetera. But it's an interesting, structure. And if anyone's been to Colonial Williamsburg, you see this is akin to that type of structure, architecture. I'm sorry, that has been there. Georgian, I believe it's Georgian architecture. So this is what it looks like. Now remember those stairs because it's an important part of the story. All right, let's get rid of that. If I can here. There we go. All right. Now, this story is about an individual by the name of Mary Engelman. And the things that happened in 1792. Now, in 1792, there was a great scare, a witch scare in South Carolina. And it's interesting enough because it's 100 years past the other witch scare in Massachusetts, right? That was the 1690s. Now, at this particular time, there were 4 people accused of witchcraft because of a lot of weird things that were going on and happening in Winnsboro. And here are some of the things that Mary herself was accused of. She was accused of making a neighbor's cow levitate and then dropping it. And as a result, the cow sustained damage and wouldn't produce milk. And a neighbor supposedly saw this happen, saw the cow levitate and then fall down to the ground and became injured. It was said that Mary was able to turn herself into a cat and run off whenever she was confronted. In fact, the person that saw this happen to his cow claimed that the minute he protested, he saw her doing this, making the cow levitate, and the minute he protested and went to her to stop, she turned into a cat and ran off. So this is a guy in the neighborhood who lives next to or near Mary, who said that he saw this with his own two eyes. And at that time also there was a rash of sickness amongst the livestock. So livestock were dying for some unknown reason, and they couldn't pinpoint what was causing it. So at that time, the superstition of the day pointed towards witchcraft, working on destroying the livestock. Now, there were a lot of German immigrants there, and she was one of them, but she was one, and there weren't that many. I should say there's a lot. There was a small contingent of German immigrants at that time, and she was one of them. So she was a little different than the traditional folks there that were English settlers. So because of that, she tends to be looked at a little different. She spoke with an accent. Her ways were a little different than the English. So of course she becomes the suspect of one of these, of the witchcraft activity. And not too far away in a neighboring town of Lexington, in the same time period, there was something called the Gifted Brethren, which was a group of people that were getting together and practicing hypnosis and trying to speak to spirits. And that whole incident sent a shockwave through the state. And that particular group of people were broken up and jailed for that activity. So it was kind of out there that people were afraid of witchly activities happening in their vicinity. There was another neighbor by the name of Rosie Henley who accused Mary of putting a spell on her and her sister. I'm sorry, put on Rosie's sister and made her begin to levitate, begin to go into a type of fit and was levitate, and 4 men had to hold her down and still couldn't do it. She was still rising as 4 men were holding her down physically, but because of the spell that Mary had cast on her, she was rising up and levitating up above the normal height of a human being. So 6-7 feet in the air, who knows? So let me see what else. Also, at that particular time, there were bites appearing on certain children's necks. Now, people attributed that to Mary's doing, that there were these bites on their necks. It could have been, who knows? It could have been a bat. It could have been a regular bat. It could have been, who knows what it could have been. But these bites on children's necks she was accused of. So all these charges were mounted up on Mary. In fact, and this is interesting. Mary had a son by the name of Adam Free, who actually turned on his mother and claimed that she had turned his son, her grandson, Jacob Free, into a horse. He saw her turn him into a horse. He saw his mother turn his son into a horse, and that she used him to ride around her orchard. So really bizarre things happening here, and family members turning on each other. Quite bizarre things. Hello, Primo. Hello, Marta. Thank you for joining us. So what happened? The people of the town got together, rounded her up along with 3 other individuals, and had their own little witch trial outside of the bounds of the law, because the law would not participate. The normal magistrate would not participate in this, want nothing to do with it, didn't believe this happened, but they did their own trial. And of course, she was found guilty. Now, What happens to her next is up for grabs here. There are different stories. One is said that they beat her tremendously, beat her to a bloody pulp. That she didn't die though. They beat her to a bloody pulp, and they set her feet on fire, and as well as the others, not just Mary, but they did flog all of them, and then sent her off on her way. Now, because she didn't die, Mary came back with a little bit of vengeance here and went to the courthouse, went to Winnsboro courthouse to file lawsuits against these people for doing this to her because they, it was an assault, it is a physical assault. And it is said that the court took her case and won, and she won her case against these vigilantes that got her together and tried her for witchcraft and beat her and set her on fire, set her feet on fire. I'm laughing because it's so weird and bizarre. I mean, that's obviously not funny that someone's feet would be set on fire. But what happened was there was corruption in the courts, and she could never collect the money that she was awarded from these people, these vigilantes, because these vigilantes were so powerful within the state. They had connections, and they were able to stem off her lawsuit and never pay it. And as such, she swore vengeance against these people and stood on the courtroom steps and cursed all of them, saying that she would never rest until she got her justice. So she went about her life and lived a few more years because she was an older woman, and eventually passed and never got her justice, never got her monetary justice for what was done wrong to her. But the minute she passed, suddenly her spirit began to appear around the courthouse itself and on those steps. And it is said that's been going on for 200 years almost, or more than 200 years, because she died around 1800. So more than 200 years now. Her spirit will appear on the court steps, on those steps that I showed you, and she will be crying out for justice. She'll be crying out for justice, and many people have seen her spirit walking up and down those steps late at night. So the ghost of the witch of Winnsboro, who really wasn't a witch. I mean, I doubt it. So was more so a victim, and as a result, her spirit is looking for justice that she never received for the way she was treated by these vigilantes. And it said that you can still see her today, that you'll still see her at the courthouse. You'll also see her wandering the streets from between the courthouse and to her home, where her home once stood, which is long gone, but she will begin her nightly walk from there to the courthouse steps, and then stand on the courthouse steps and cry out for justice. So it would be quite an interesting thing to see if you were ever to witness this happening on a nightly basis. But it's been going on for 200 years, and many people swear that they've seen it happen. So that's number 2, the witch Mary Engelman, the Witch of Winnsboro Courthouse. All right, now on to the third and final story, which was our title story. And this has to do with Baynard Plantation. Now, Baynard Plantation is located on Hilton Head, South Carolina. Now, let me show you what this looks like, if I may. Now, this plantation was originally built. Let me see. This was built, well, in the 1700s also, and it changed hands over the years. In fact, it was originally built by somebody by the name of Saucy Jake Stoney. He was the original founding person of that area, and he had 1,000 acres. Then this plantation was, 1,000 acres, and that he lost. He had served in the Revolution, and this 1,000 acres. He was a Revolutionary War veteran, and these 1,000 acres were part of the gift he received, or compensation he received from his service to the new republic. And after the revolution, it is said that he loses this. He loses this. Well, first of all, I'm sorry, he passes it on to his grandson, and his grandson loses it. His grandson loses it in a poker game, and he loses it in a poker game to William Maynard. And that's when this becomes, it was originally Stony Plantation, it becomes Baynard Plantation. And that happens around 1820s, something like that. All right, so William Maynard. Let me show you what I have here picture wise, so you get a good look of what I'm talking about here. Hold on. All right, this is all that's left of the actual original plantation. It's ruins. You know, it's a historical site, and it's basically ruins. The original foundation of the plantation house, and that's really all that's left. Because after in the Civil War, it was decimated. It was destroyed in the Civil War. But William Maynard never made it to the Civil War. William Maynard died in 1849. But before he did that, he built a mausoleum for himself. Now, I'll show you what his mausoleum looks like, because that's an important part of the story. All right, here we go. Now on to the next here. Let's see. Where is the mausoleum? Here we go. Here's what his mausoleum looks like. It's hard to see in this picture, but it does say William Maynard up here on the top here in that triangle at the top. So he built this mausoleum for himself. And he built it in 1841. And he built it big enough for himself and his wife to live in, because he had lost his wife early on. In 1841, he lost his young bride, and he was basically devastated by this. He really was obsessed with it and began, he built this huge mausoleum for her and him to rest eternally together, and was obsessed with trying to contact her in the afterlife. So he would delve in seances and would speak to the local voodoo witch doctors, trying to get them to connect him to his late wife. He was so obsessed with her, and he would wander the grounds of his plantation in a constant melancholy state, just depressed and lovesick for his wife, who he lost, who they were supposed to have this wonderful life together, but she lost right after they were married. So, so this mausoleum, which I just showed you, is right next to the Zion Chapel of Ease, and the cemetery next to it. Now, it is this cemetery, and where that mausoleum is where they say that William Maynard's funeral procession takes place every night. That they see him, not just his spirit, but his entire funeral procession, walking through the cemetery, with him walking the hearse. There will be a ghost hearse there, ghost horses and mourners, and he will be leading it, walking in front of it, walking around the cemetery, throughout the cemetery, and ending at his mausoleum. And it's quite a creepy sight to imagine this, that an actual ghostly carriage and horse bringing a body, and then the spirit in front of the body. It's kind of beyond, it's hard to imagine such a thing. Now, it's said that, I mentioned that the plantation was destroyed in 1866, the Civil War in 1866, around that time, 1865, end of the Civil War, towards the end of the Civil War. But before that happened, Maynard never made it there. But there were rumors. There were lots of rumors going around on how William Maynard had a hidden treasure in his mausoleum. Many of his riches were buried there, and word got around amongst Union troops. And when Union troops were in the area, a bunch of rogue soldiers went looking for this treasure, and basically looted and trashed the mausoleum, and the plantation was in ruins. And it is said that the ghost of Maynard William was not too pleased with this, and in fact struck out against these soldiers immediately. After, in 1864, they trashed it and desecrated it in hopes of finding gold and riches and jewels and whatever. And right after that, that rogue group decided to leave the plantation with what they had taken, strange things began to happen to that particular group of soldiers. Suddenly, sickness began to come over most of them. There were there were nights where people they would make camp, and certain members of the group would disappear, and no one would know what happened to them. They would never return. There were others that developed a skin disease. And no one had ever seen it or known the cure for it. Um, Several of them committed suicide after this. Others were, like I said, vanished, disappeared, while others still would fall into untimely demise through accidents that are very rare and unheard of, like falling off of a cliff or um, tripping in the woods and hitting their head and ending up gone. Ending it right there. So, and as a result of that, this band of about 12 to 13, 14 soldiers, by the time they made it back to the north, to their company and their north, where the rest of the regiment was, there was only two members left. And those two members were so shaken and afraid of, based on the experience they encountered since leaving Baynard Plantation, that they swore that they would give back everything they took, and actually took everything they did and buried it in a site unknown in the vicinity. So it seems that the ghost of William Maynard, had a very long arm to get his revenge on those that trashed his mausoleum. But that being said, the main reason for his ghostly funeral, they say, is that he is, the lamentation he had in life for the loss of his wife, and how sad he was when he went to by the time he had gone to the grave, he was so sad that he continues to walk this route every night, in hopes of getting to rest with his departed bride. So, interesting tale. And aside from the sights of the ghostly funeral procession, there's also been talks of generic things like orbs in the area, as well as people being touched in the cemetery, and whispers over the wind. The typical things you hear about ghosts in those areas. So let me see if let me see. I showed you that. I showed you the plantation. I thought I had something else. Maybe I don't. About this. I thought I had an orb picture, but I don't know what happened to it. Anyway, all right. So, yeah, I don't think I had an orb picture of this. Yeah, that's weird. Anyway, I don't know what happened there. All right, but anyway, so those are your two stories. Those are your three stories: the plantation, the Maynard Plantation, the Witch of Winnsboro Courthouse, and St. Philip's Graveyard with the ghost of Sue Howard. So there you have your three stories, which I thought were quite interesting. I don't know if you guys liked them. I enjoyed them. I hope you did. Gerard Saratelli, how are you, my friend? Paul C., good to see you. I don't know if I missed Joe Town. How are you, Joe Town? Let's see. Anybody else here that I missed? I don't want to miss anybody. If I didn't, let's see. I think I hit everybody. Awesome. So now let's get to the paranormal videos. This is my fun thing now. I like doing this. I like getting you guys to see them and tell me what your thoughts are. All right. So this first video that I'm going to show you. So stick around and let me know what you think. First one I'm going to show you. All right. This one takes place in Eastern Europe. All right. Let's do this. Hold on here. I need to share my screen, if I may. Here we go. All right. Let me see here. All right. Now, let me see this. All right, now you see this screen. Now, this is a woman and her daughter walking along. I want to show you. Now, I want you to watch. There's going to be a cat that shows up behind them, and it turns out to be their cat. They're walking along, and their cat is walking with them, which I thought was kind of cool. I don't think you don't see that happen too often, a cat walking with people. But here we go. Now, watch what happens to the cat. Watch the cat closely. All right, it's coming up. It's coming. Look at that. Now, that to me looks like something is pulling the cat by the tail out of nowhere. Here it comes again. Look at it again and tell me what you think. That looks like somebody pulls the cat from behind, which results in him going forward, and he turns around to see what happened. Now, the people don't even notice this. They don't even know what's going on. They're just walking along. And then they kind of turn when they hear the activity behind them. So it's kind of creepy, if you ask me. Yeah. So right. I mean, what do you think? I mean, to me that looks that looks like some spirit pulled the cat's arm. I mean, I'm sorry, the cat's tail. Pulled the cat's tail, and he ends up going forward. His head keeps going forward. And he ends up doing a flip in the air when he's let go. Like he comes off the ground. Look at that. How would he come off the ground like that? That's bizarre. It's a bizarre thing. Look at that. I can't figure it out. I can't figure it out. All right. All right. So what do you think about that? He did a flip because he was pulled by the tail. Of course he did. He flipped. His tail is pulled up. And he flips. And he doesn't know what's going on. He looks behind him like, what happened? Bizarre. Just bizarre. All right, that's the number one video. Now let me show you the second video. Now the second video I'm going to set up. This one is, let me see, where's this one from? This one I think is from South America. A gym. This is a guy going to the gym in South America. All right, so hold on here, and you tell me what you think is going on here. There we go. All right, here's the guy in the gym. You see he's in the gym, right? Now let's watch what's going on here. Now those things start swinging. Those things start swinging. Those straps start swinging. This was taken in 2021. You see he has a mask on. You know, it's like right after the pandemic and stuff. And you see the light go on and off. Now watch what happens to him. Now that heavy ball rolls by itself. The heavy ball just rolled. Now those things are heavy. You know that. They don't roll on their own. Now watch what happens to him. And then he runs out. Let's watch it again. Look at his leg. Look at how he's pulled. Look how it looks like he's pulled by something. This is from a different angle in the same gym. All right, the same thing happening. It's a different angle. You can see there's windows in the front of the gym. There's the things flipping, the straps moving. He goes over. I don't know. He looks like he like put some hand cleaner on his hands. Right. He moves over. The heavy ball moves. There it goes, rolling across the floor. He looks at it like, what is this? How is that thing moving? It's heavy. And he decides, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to get my stuff together. I'm getting out of here. And all of a sudden, he gets yanked to the floor and his leg gets pulled up. Look at this. That is some creepy stuff. Nancy, if you're paying attention, my dear, you would know that I said this was 2021, right after the pandemic when people were still wearing masks. That's why. All right. So there you have it. There you have a creepy, unexplainable video, if you ask me. Yes, exactly. It was 2021. It was January 2021 or February 2021, still in the midst of the pandemic hysteria, right? So that's why he has the mask on. But nonetheless, mask or no mask, I don't know how a human being moves like that without being pulled. I don't know how that's possible to move like that, how you can have your leg yanked up like that. I don't think you can do that. So I don't know. Is it a hoax? I don't know. I guess it could be a hoax. I guess that's possible. It could be a hoax. But it looks pretty real to me. I mean, they would have had to tied something to his leg, I guess, and yanked him up like that, and then maybe taken the rope out of the picture. I don't know, but it looks like a pretty solid security cam footage. So you got to go in timeout for not listening to this. That's right. You got to pay attention here. This is a learning experience. There'll be a quiz later on. So, yeah, he did right, Solitaire. He decides I'm getting the heck out of here, and then that's when he gets the whatever was there said no, you're not going anywhere. Right, you think it was an earthquake? Could be. It could be an earthquake, but the earthquake would take him to the ground. But I don't know why his leg would be up like that. I don't know why his leg would be in that contortion, the way it was up, like it's like it's being yanked up, while the body was that in that position. I don't know. MPAL, about 15 years ago, seeing a video of an eagle picking up a child, found out it was fake. Oh, that one, I saw that too. You thought that was real? I knew that was fake immediately. I saw that one. That one, yeah, that one was poor CGI. That thing, whoever did that. I remember that one. Oh, Cranky, you live in California? Okay. Yeah, no, interesting. Yeah, no, I mean, I don't think that would be an earthquake. I mean, I had earthquakes here, not like California, but we had earthquakes here not too long ago, and it was not fun. But I don't think it would pull you up in the air like that. Didn't pull me up in the air. Demons. Oh, Gerard, please, demons. We don't need demons. I'm happy with just ghosts. I don't want to play with demons. I don't like that. Hello, Delilah. How are you? I don't know if I said hello to you before. Gianni, where have you been, my friend? That's unacceptable. It's an unacceptable excuse, Gianni. Unacceptable. You missed all the fun stuff. You missed the paranormal videos. You missed the 3 stories. You missed out on all the fun stuff. I don't know what to tell you. Well, thank you, Nancy. I appreciate it. Yeah, Butterfly, I don't like demons at all, believe me. I'm not a fan of the demons, so I try not to say no. I try not to look for demons. But yeah, plus we had the video, we had the shot of Sue Howard, that picture of Sue Howard, and that to me is very believable, that shot. That you know what? I'll show you that. Let's look at that one again. It's a still shot Let's look at that one again, because I thought that was pretty cool. And the fact that it's taken in 1989 or whatever, 88 or whatever, 87, I'm sorry, 1987, where there was no digital cameras here, and it has been analyzed, and it is not doctored. So here we go. This is the picture of the ghost of Sue Howard, taken in 1987 without a traditional camera, no digital, not and analyzed to make sure it was not a double exposure, and it was confirmed not a double exposure. But there you see her, what appears to be a woman, her head down in a sorrowful position. Here's their upper body, her arms, this arm there, an arm there, and the long 1800s dress. So to me, this one's pretty darn convincing. You know, having lost her child in childbirth, you know, still lamenting that experience, and on the anniversary of the child's death, this was taken, which is bizarre and creepy beyond belief. Who took the picture, Nancy? It's just some guy who was taking pictures of tombstones in the cemetery at the time, because it's an old cemetery from 1680, and didn't see this happen, didn't see this with his own eyes. This showed up on the film when he was taking random, you know, developed his roll of film, and this is what showed up. So that's it's really kind of cool, if you ask me. All right. So that's our stories and our presentation for this evening. I want to thank you all for joining. Also, please hit the like button if you can. Leave a comment afterwards, too. We're doing that thing. Stiggs and I are doing that, where we're trying to see what happens. And last week's show, there were a bunch of comments, and it did help. I think it did help. So leave a comment, even just to say hi. You know, come back to the show, say hi. Leave a comment and see if that helps us get it out. Helps us get the show out to more people. But I think this was a fun show. I thought it was cool. Some cool stuff. Hope everyone has a great Labor Day weekend. And, you know, thank each and every one of you for joining me and spending some time with me. I appreciate each and every one of you. And tune into Slim next. Slim and Solitaire next, 10 p.m. in a few minutes. They're going live with their usual Friday night show. Tune in, see how they're doing. Chris Trock, you missed everything, Chris Trock. Where are you? There you are. You missed the whole darn show. You missed everything, my friend. Everything. Even Lenny said, where was Chris Trock? And you weren't here. So I don't know what to tell you. So anyway, on behalf of Lenny, I'd like to thank each and every one. This was probably, you know, an aside, this is probably the most people I have ever had in a show. At one point, we hit 38 people in the chat, and I want to thank you so much for that. I've never had that before, and it seems you guys like hanging out here and listening to me babble, so I will continue to do it. So I really appreciate that, and I wish you all the very best. Help me build the guild and stay scared, as I always say. Let me blow out our candles, and I'll say, God bless it. God bless each and every one of you. I love you guys. Thank you for being here. Have a great Labor Day weekend. Buonasera.